I think, in a way, the most significant part of this hearing so far is what you said, that this tax bill is not even in the first inning. It's with the first batter. And I hope when people running for office make all kinds of claims as to what's been happening, that they look back at what the chairman of this committee has said. And you've been somewhat moderate, Mr. Holtz-Eakin, in describing what's happened so far. Do you think tax cuts pay for themselves?
I've never been called moderate before. I'm shocked.
I said today.
Thank you, sir. No, tax cuts don't pay for themselves. If they did, there would be no additional debt from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, and there is. The question is it worth it? Will the growth and the incentives that come from it be worth the additional federal debt? My judgment on that was yes. Reasonable people can disagree.
Well, but yours then is another version of saying tax cuts pay for themselves. Because you say they lead to growth, and growth will overtake the increased debt?
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I said that we need better economic growth, and, and to do so would have some cost. There are benefits and costs. I think the benefits outweigh those costs in this case, but that doesn't mean the costs are zero. When we went into this exercise, there was $10 trillion in debt in the federal baseline before the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. There was a dangerous rise in the debt to GDP ratio. It was my belief, and continues to be my belief, that those problems would not be addressed in a stagnant, slow-growth economy. Those are enormously important problems, and we needed to get growth going so that we can also take them on.
Okay. Again, I think, in addition to the very tentative comment of the chairman, in terms this is the first batter, though I think, as Mr. Neo said, some hitters are already, if not getting home runs, getting triples and doubles. That's true mainly of the business community. For the average taxpayer, it's been very small. And you see the chart that Mr. Ratner put in. Do any of you disagree with this chart that says workers lose out on business tax cut, where most of the tax cut is gone? Any of you disagree with that chart? Yes.
I strongly disagree with that chart. The average American is in those businesses. That is where they earn their money. And they haven't been earning enough, and the growth has been too slow.
Okay, good. Mr. Ratner, if you'll comment on Mr. Holtz-Eakin's, defend your chart.
I don't know if Mr. Holtz-Eakin and I came here to have a public fight, but no. Look,
it will make it more interesting.
It will make it more interesting.
And I think,
but I like Mr. Holtz-Eakin, so I don't.
So do I. But I think witnesses should challenge each other. So this is your opportunity.
Okay. Look, I would say a couple things. First of all, let me point out. I've heard a lot of comments already this morning about the growth that we're going to get from this tax cut, whether or not it's going to pay for it or not. But the point is, it's going to create investment and growth. That's the argument that I've heard consistently made by the advocates of the tax cut. However, if you look at what nonpartisan economists have said would be the growth impact of this tax cut, I have another chart in my prepared remarks that have 5 of them. Goldman Sachs, 0.07% annual increase in growth because of this tax bill. The CBO, 0.06%. Moody's, 0.04%. The Joint Committee on Taxation, 0.02%. And the IMF, minus 0.01%, I think principally because of the additional debt that would be placed on top of the U.S. economy by the tax cut. So there's a strong body of private sector, nonpartisan people who do not believe we're going to get substantial additional growth from this tax cut, and therefore the argument that you're going to get more wages and more this and more that, I think, becomes academic. The fact of the matter is, if you look at simply where is this $1.2 trillion of lost revenue going?
Let me just interrupt, yes. Because I think what you're saying is, in terms of wages, this is trickle down, and in terms of growth, the evidence so far is the prognostications is it's also going to be trickle down as to growth.
Well, the fact is,
The gentleman's time has expired.